What happened to Jonathan Hagans 56 years ago is still a mystery. It was meant to be a fun visit to the beach with his family, but it turned into a nightmare. And though some police at the time thought he drowned, his family is adamant that he was taken.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, 3 years old.
On the website for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, go all the way back to the beginning of Florida cases. And a black and white photo of a young boy sits at the front of the line.
Just a night of panic and horror.
3-year-old Jonathan Hagans, known as John John. It is the oldest missing child case in Florida and one of the oldest in the nation.
It was a little like pizza pub on the ocean.
It all began here in Jacksonville Beach, the evening of June 11, 1968.
I remember the day vividly.
Joe Hagans was 5 years old at the time and says he, his older sister Susan, one of her friends, and John John, along with his parents and an uncle, were at a small restaurant near the beach access at 16th Avenue South. The kids were outside near the top of a ramp that led down to the beach, while the adults were inside by the window.
They could see us sitting there.
He says John John wanted to go back inside the restaurant.
I watched him walk back to the door. There was a little door on the side, almost like a screen door type thing. He reached up and opened the door, and I turned around, facing back towards the ocean.
He says about 5 to 10 minutes later, his father came out and asked where John John was. The children responded he should be in the restaurant. And that's when Joe recalls he saw his father start to panic.
My dad went into a hunting frenzy. My mom then found out he was missing, and she broke down pretty good.
Police were called, lifeguards dispatched to the area. Even the Navy sent a helicopter to search, but there was no trace of John John. Searches of the water continued for 5 days, but no body was ever recovered. Though his parents were told he had likely drowned, Joel Hagans says his parents didn't believe that was the case.
There was not one person that said they saw him going towards the water. There were several people that said they saw him walking up towards the snack shack.
They believe he was kidnapped.
There's a lot of roadblocks to a case that's this old.
Detective Corporal Yvonne Warren with the Jacksonville Beach Police Department says in the 56 years since this happened, the landscape has changed at the 16th Avenue South access. Witnesses have died or their memories faded. So she has poured through the reports from multiple investigators over the last 5 decades, especially witness statements from that night.
And if Susan was down closer to the water, she doesn't report seeing him down by the water.
Not according to the reports that I've seen.
Is there anybody that reported seeing John John talking with anybody towards the restaurant or walking with anyone at any point?
Not that I'm aware of, not that I've seen in any of the reports from back then.
He had seemingly vanished, and until there is proof he died, she says they will continue to investigate it as a missing persons case. This is an age-progressed photo of what Jonathan Hagans may look like today. He would be 59 years old. The Hagans family says they are hoping DNA databases could help.
My brother Joey and my sister Julie both have their DNA in the database.
So far, there have been no matches. But Detective Corporal Warren says in addition to DNA, she hopes exposure of this case will help bring in new leads, that someone might remember John John's face from 1968.
I'd think back to then and see if did somebody show up with a child that didn't have a child before. Maybe they made up some story that they had to take in a child. If there's something where somebody showed up with a child at that time that they never had before and that child is him, then I would hope that somebody could see this, remember this, and call us.
You hope and wish for the best.
And hope is what the Hagans family has held on to through the decades. The hope that John John is still alive. the hope he realizes who he is, and the hope that they will be reunited after 56 years.
We've definitely not given up hope. We're still optimistic, but, we do realize that the odds are stacked against, finding him.
If you know anything about the disappearance of Jonathan Hagans, contact the Jacksonville Beach Police Department. Katie Jeffries, First Coast News, on your side.